you, Deputy Presiding Officer, and I'd like to thank my friend Martin Whitfield for bringing forward this important motion today, because central to my political beliefs is my belief in the family, and it fills me with sadness to see the increased rate of family breakdown. This sadness isn't derived from some romantic utopia of family, but because the breakdown of families has a devastating impact on those involved. And when I talk about the breakdown of families, I'm not just talking about divorce and separation. I'm also talking about the breakdown of safe, stable and nurturing relationships within families where parents stay together. A recent study from Canada concluded that 44.3% of parents with children under the age of 18 living at home experienced deteriorated mental health during the pandemic. And as Professor Hazel Borland of NHS Ayrshire and Arran said in this Parliament for the Health Committee, there has been a significant impact on mental health, which tragically is also resulting in an increase in suicides across the country. With the pandemic affecting mental health of both parents and children, it's very important that every family in need has access to the appropriate family support. But our approach to providing family support must change. Family support must emphasise the importance of relationships. Rather than looking at a child or child and parent support in isolation, we need to look at them as interrelated. We must look at the whole family. I thought Pam Duncan-Clancy spoke well on that aspect. Central to this thinking is the understanding that children want loving relationships. As it says in Keep the Promise for Children and Families, quote, when children talk about wanting to be safe, they talk about having relationships that are real, loving and consistent, end of quote. To truly understand this, there must be a fundamental shift in our thinking. We must recognise the long-term pain that removing a child causes children, families and communities. Long-term loving relationships are key to nurturing children. It is key to their happiness and their well-being. This is something that is recognised by the promise, which has been referred to by several speakers. Change Programme 1 is a great way to deliver this, and the third and charitable sectors add the love and nurturing that is often missing from government programmes. Family support must be about exactly that. Children do not exist in a vacuum. They are raised by families and a broader community of people who love them. We are all responsible. It is incumbent upon the state to let family life flourish and to ensure that everything it does enhances rather than detracts from the family. Teachers in schools, social workers, youth leaders and others must always work with families to support them and to help them. Cutting across this is to be avoided, but support from government is always to be welcomed. And in the recent programme for government, there was an announcement that has also been referred to in previous speeches about the £500 million that will be provided over the course of this Parliament for the Whole Family Wellbeing Fund. This funding is welcomed across the Chamber. But when I have asked for a breakdown of how this funding will be allocated, I have not yet received any answers which I would deem sufficient. To conclude, Presiding Officer, I would like to ask two questions, or Deputy Presiding Officer, I would like to ask two questions, which I hope the Minister will address in her remarks. How much of the £500 million for the Whole Family Wellbeing Fund announced in the programme for government will be allocated to each local authority and in each year of the Parliament? And secondly, with the commitment to dedicate at least 5% of community health and social care spend to family support services by 2030, can the Minister inform us what the current percentage of community health and social care spend is on family support services? I think those are pretty clear questions. Deputy Presiding Officer, decisions on family support must focus on the needs of children and families. This requires funding to be felt at a local level, and a fundamental shift in our thinking is also required. Families are idiosyncratic and diverse. I myself have never met two families that were the same. And Scotland must be resolved to support that diversity in all its glory and to work alongside members of a family to nurture and support and to love the next generation.